I'm not going to drag. I'm just going to speak with true intentions. Total transparency and accountability. Oh, I'm not going to drag her. I'm just gonna speak with total transparency and accountability. I'm not going to give in to the need to make viral content. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Oh, oh, let the positive energy flow in. Let the negative energy flow out. Thank you, God, Goddess, a man, a woman. Lelem, lele. Om. Hello, my name is Kaneem Mafa. When I first came on the internet, I used another name, Tila, and I had some difficulties with TS Madison in the very beginning. One of my daughters, who I mentored, was looking up to her, and she was going in on the LGBT community. I have receipts. If I need to, I can pull those receipts. And I was saying, well, you know, a lot of the people who follow you, they look up to you. You shouldn't be saying those things about the LGBT community. Because at the time, the LGBT community wasn't seeing it for her. She responded back, and because we were both in this Christian space, you know, believing in Jesus, we were able to come to an amicable solution or agreement. And for a time, there was peace. Her career began to flourish under the guidance of Geo, whom she later fell out with. And I understand that. Growing pains, child. I fall out with people all the time. So that's neither here nor there. It's just, I want to give credit where credit is due. Her career began to flourish under the guidance of Geo. And then in real time, we began to witness her get opportunities that we had never seen a model of her example who comes from, you know, doing adult film content. We began to see her crossover into mainstream. She became a entity that youth were able to experience. Younger beings were able to experience. You know, now she's even currently opening a house for trans people, and so with her background, um, that's a tremendous accomplishment, right? And so when you have examples like that, it can bring up a lot of emotion from people who are truly and sincerely invested in community. And so because I have been on YouTube making content since 2009, I've had things to say not only about her, but a lot of the black trans people who I saw ascending to places of power, importance, and rank in the community. This is not something that, now at the beginning of the movement, I did want some of these things for myself, if I'm being honest. But then when I really realized what it was hitting for, when I learned about what tokenism meant, like what tokenism was, I didn't know what a token was until I got a job working for the state around 2015. That's when I started to really realize what tokenism was. And so, because I'm a person who processes things real time, and TS Madison was the public example of that, I would often reference her and reference her because she's a public figure. she built her platform off of critiquing black people, speaking on black people. She talked about Wendy Williams. She talked about Boosie, Scrappy, like housewives. Like she was like she's always had critique and conversation. Like she literally has a whole show now where she talks about people in the black community. And so this this is not uncommon in our community, but for some reason, when you arise to a certain status in community, you have more privilege to talk about people, and people who have not arrived at your status financially or economically, they are, considered to be peasants, or I guess lower than, and so they don't have the right to speak on certain people. And so it's like the audacity of you speaking on me when you don't have A, B, C, and D. And so that's been the discourse between me and her for years now, is I am not on her level. I am not where she is economically. I am not where she is financially. I don't have her status or her connections. And so therefore I don't have the right to speak on her. That's the crux of what I'm getting, that the beef is. And so even though the people that she was speaking on, when her career was rising up, she wasn't where they were, but it was justifiable for her to speak on them in the manner in which she spoke on them. But that's neither here nor there. The point that I'm making this video for is because the other day I made a video where I said that I would work with her if I had creative autonomy and we did not have to have co-leading roles, and I was paid $50,000. And I meant that because that would be an opportunity for me to create substantial change in a capitalistic society. I didn't pray for this to be a capitalistic society. This is not what I wanted. This is what it is. And so it's foolish not to acknowledge what it is. I am not in love with money, but I do appreciate the things that money makes it possible for me to do for community. And so like I said, I would work with her if we did not have to be around each other every day, spend a lot of time with each other during the times when we were working together. And also I was being paid a substantial amount, $50K. That's where I'm at with it this year. And I was giving creative autonomy. And the reason why I say that is because word on the curve is that she's going to be doing a biopic about her life. And it just got me to thinking about if someone was to ever do a biopic about me while I was still walking this earth, 9 times out of 10, these petty folks are going to do my biopic after I have transitioned, after I have ascended this mortal coil. Because y'all gonna want to spin a narrative rather than actually play the whole tape on both sides, side A and side B. Because I'm a very complex entity. I'm a multifaceted, multi-dimensional being. And rather than playing that whole tape and waking these children up and scrambling, because when you really, really just swing the camera on me and just let all of them hear me, it's going to be this does not compute, baby, computer systems are going to break down because they've been fed so much lower level information that has not had them to use their brain in the way that it's possible. There's going to be some malfunctionings. There's going to be some computers just going, some mental computers are just going to lock up and shut down. This does not compute. This does not compute. And so they'll probably wait until I've ascended to do my biopic. But since she is, doing her biopic while she's alive, I'm just curious as to know what type of biopic are you going to do where you don't have a storyline that shows community members who have held you accountable for years consistently called you out, complimented you when you were doing well, said positive things. These are the things that you never talk about when you've come from me for the things that I've said. But I have lifted you up. At one time, I was a follower. I shared your content. I lived for you. And then when I saw that your motivation was really a coin, it wasn't really community. It was a coin. And it shows. It shows because you have that. You have a nasty coin. You have nasty resources. And so we know what your primary focus was. And so, but when you do this biopic, like when they've done biopics about, leaders and teachers and guides and extraordinary beings in community, you have to show that nuance. You have to show how even your community has struggled with some of your choices and your decisions. If you don't play the whole tape, then you're not really telling your story. You're spinning a narrative. You're sharing a version of who you are. If I was to ever be asked to be a part of the story, because I am, whether you want to admit it or not, when you're gone, people who have access to this content and they want to play the whole tape, because you painted this fairy tale version of yourself that does not have the complexities that actually took place. When they want to dig up dirt on you, I'm sure I will be found in the rubble, And so rather than allowing people to do that to you after you're gone and you can't defend yourself, being whole enough to be able to play the whole tape, being whole enough to be able to tell a powerful and complex and dynamic story will speak volumes about your character. Because I'm definitely not afraid to allow varying opinions or opposition, perceivable opposition, because a lot of times it's not opposition. It's people holding you accountable. It's people wanting you to remember where you came from. And it's people wanting you not to put down others simply because they're not where you are financially, because you had to do a lot of conforming and you had to eat a lot of feces, I'm certain, to get to where you are. Playing the whole tape, including those people who've held your foot to the fire, those people who had different opinions of you, you could brush it off and say, oh, they are haters. That's easy to do in a climate where we have people in office that during one administration, they was rooting for us and they was saying they was going to stand up for us. And now in this administration, we'll never be this and it's delusional. So now the narrative has changed. So in a climate that's fickle and going wherever the dollar is, going wherever the money is, it's easy to spin whatever narrative you want to spin and try to make the person who is calling for accountability look like the villain. But Maleficent had a backstory. We found that out. Like the ones who you try to villainize, they always have a backstory. So, when you get ready to tell your story, play the whole tape. If you don't play the whole tape, then you're not telling your story. You're spinning a narrative in order to make yourself look like somebody that you are in part, but there's much more to the story. And you have had people in your community to stand up to you, to challenge you, to hold your feet to the fire, and to erase them for the benefit of how you look is the same thing that's happening to trans people right now in the United States. We're being erased because America wants to look a certain way, because it's not flattering to the overall aesthetic of this nation. Those adversities, those things that come to challenge us, try us, and call us into a space of growth and expansion. So yeah, That's all I got. I just wanted to say that, clear up why I made that video, and put something that I could share on TikTok, because y'all know y'all really be on my language. I could speak a little bit more freely on YouTube, but I really have to uh, get those words together, get that vocab together when I'm on TikTok. And I'm kind of thankful for it, but sometimes I be feeling away. But anyway, I love y'all. Y'all have a beautiful day. Laylim Layler Nation, purple and gray ones rise later.